About 6 years after Grito de Dolores and the Mexican independence movement, the Porfiriato began. However, during the gap between independence and revolution was a period of constant change in terms of governments and politics. First, there was the Reform War, then the Second Mexican Empire, and finally the restored republic. The Porfiriato arguably originated from Porfirio Diaz's two rebellions against the liberal president Benito Juarez. Before being elected a dictator, Porfirio Diaz was destined to be a soldier who quickly rose through the ranks to become a general. After forcibly taking control of Mexico, he instituted the policies Order for Progress and Urbanization. The wealthy landowning hacendados as well as the peasants disapproved of these policies. On the other hand, for the duration of the Porfiriato, the economy boomed as Diaz paid off debts, encouraged foreign investments, and business enterprises. Diaz continued his crafty politics by appeasing the U.S. and church, while still passing legislation for additional areas to be modernized. After a short period of time, while Manuel Gonzalez ruled, Diaz regained power and continued his oppressive, yet progressive rule.
Political causes of the revolution include the inability of people to express their opinions or elect government officials due to the corrupt and oppressive dictatorship-like rule of Diaz for 30 years, and the emergence of a new generation of young leaders who desired to participate in the political life of Mexico but were denied the opportunity by the people in power. Diaz declared Mexico was ready for democracy in 1908, but imprisoned Francisco Madero after he tried to run against him in the 1910 election. Madero wrote the Plan de San Luis Potosí while in exile, declaring the elections fraud, promising land reform, and calling for an armed uprising against Diaz. Economic causes include a large reliance on foreign capital and foreign domination of industry, a failing economy due to increased poverty and unemployment, and the exploitation of workers, particularly in the hacienda system. Diaz tried to mirror the sophisticated European economy with his economic policies, but ultimately hurt the Mexican economy because of the unequal distribution of wealth and economic policies that only aided the elite. Social causes of the revolution include a great disparity between the rich and the poor, the lack of upwards mobility, increasing poverty and famine due to emphasis on export crops, a rising number of landless peasants, and violent suppressed labor strikes and rural uprisings.
Francisco Madero was an elite democratic author who wanted to use democracy as a form of social control to prevent a social revolution, so the elites would maintain political power over the lower class. He also wanted to use this false democracy to promote capitalism through limited social and political reforms. He expressed his main goal of overthrowing Diaz in the Plan de San Luis Potosí. He gained followers with his plan for democracy and organized a revolution on U.S. soil, succeeding in the battle at Chihuahua. With allies Orozco and Villa, his victories led to the peace treaty in May of 1911, and Madero became the first president of Mexico. Francisco Pancho Villa was a bandit in Chihuahua in early life, and he joined Madero's uprisings as a fugitive. As a revolutionist, he supported Madero's agrarian reform proposals and aimed to get benefits for the working class. He became key in establishing Madero into power in Ciudad Juarez. After Huerta took power, he continued to support Madero by becoming leader of the Constitutionalists and implemented limited social reforms in Chihuahua. Zapata was born in Morelos into a mestizo family. He wanted to create democracy in which small property owners held a majority of the land, and government was responsible for preventing foreign imperialism. His main goal was the political and economic emancipation of Mexico's peasantry. He also pushed for the re-establishment of ejidos through a forceful removal of land from the haciendas. He originally allied with Madero to overthrow Diaz, but then declared Madero a traitor and created the Plan de Ayala in 1911, after Madero refused to carry out the agrarian reforms of the Plan de San Luis. During the uprising against Huerta, Zapata rallied around Carranza's Plan de Guadalupe and led the Liberation Army of the South, attracting Huerta's attention and assuring Villa's success in the north. Carranza was born into an upper-middle-class landowning family. After supporting Madero, Carranza created the Plan de Guadalupe and subsequently led fellow revolutionaries in ousting Huerta. After the establishment of the 1917 Constitution, he was elected the first president. As president of Mexico, he favored political instead of social reforms. For example, he established basic reforms in land ownership, control of natural resources, and labor legislation. Also, Carranza wanted to stabilize Mexico, create a new constitution, and rid Mexico of U.S. and revolutionary influences. Lastly, Carranza appealed to urban laborers and women by promising minimum wage, agrarian reforms, and unions under the new constitution. Overall, Carranza was one of the more conservative revolutionaries, but he did get the ball rolling for future reforms in the current constitution.